Guys, we have somebody special here. My 25 pounds reward, in fact. Husband reward. He's way more than 25 pounds worth. In fact, he's priceless. He has no price attached to him. He's amazing. Thank you so much, love, for coming on my channel, on our channel.
Oh, you're welcome.
And we have a few questions. We put a Q&A out, and we had a few people get back to us on questions for hubby and I. Mainly he'll be answering, but yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'll ask him the questions, and he'll answer to the best of his knowledge. If you do have any more, please put it in the description, in the comment. Okay, sorry, in the comment section. All right, let's go. What is your biggest takeaway so far now that you have actually married? So your biggest lesson?
I think one of the biggest lessons is just to continue to share love and then encourage each other. It's one of those hard things going, when you're dating, it's like going, okay, yeah, oh, I love you so much, I'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. But when you get married, it's like, oh, you can easily forget that you said all of those things before, right? So it's like, just take that moment to remember all the things you did promise her while you are in that courting stage.
Yeah.
And then before you proposed, or even before you said, oh, will you be my girlfriend, all that kind of thing. So, or in some of the cases, some cases, will you be my boyfriend, whichever. But yeah.
Please, who has been asking, will you be my boyfriend?
So it's just kind of remembering the promises you kept to each other and making it real, and just constantly keep improving on yourself and then improving on each other as well. So yeah, that really helps.
Amazing. Thank you for that. The next question is, what was your biggest misconception about marriage? Like, what did you actually think before you entered marriage, and then you now go in and you're like,
Well, I guess like one person had to do all the cooking. I was like, maybe this one had to do all the cooking, but no, it's not true, because even I like to cook, I like to bake, whatever. So it makes it easy enough to share those duties and just make it easy for each other. Some days she doesn't want to cook, I'll cook. Some days we both don't want to cook, it's like, okay, that's fine. And I guess also it's like, you think chores belongs to one particular person, but in actual fact, it belongs to both of you. So it's like, oh, okay, what can you do today? Okay, yeah. But honestly, some days I was like, oh, you don't do this. I'll do later. I'll do later. You said 2 hours ago you're doing this, but my later is not your time. What do you think? Was that?
I feel like one is like a general thing that's being said by people. A lot of people say that the man's appetite for sex is always like, men just like sex every minute, any time of the day you want them to have sex, they just literally are ready. And then they say, oh, the women are the ones that, they take time. But I think, so that to me, that was sort of a misconception, because I then came into marriage and I was expecting this person to be every minute, every second, oh yeah. And then the person is like, please, let me go to bed. I was now, oh, not today. And then you now start thinking that your spouse is weird or like different from like everybody else. Please share in the comment section if you're married and this was something that you actually thought that everyone was like, yeah, the men, anytime, any day. And then you then get married and then you're like, are you sure they go to the maths, right? So yeah, and I remember like earlier on in marriage, I used to say, don't worry now, you come, you beg me, don't worry. And it was like, but I mean, I feel like as the years have obviously gone by, things have balanced out, life has experiences will show you. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I think that was a misconception. Another misconception was probably that maybe a lot of times when people advise you, they advise you based reflecting on their own marriage, right? But they forget that this is a different person, you're a different person. One or two things are similar with general, like you can generally say about women and you can generally say about men. but it's not. You people make your marriage what you want to make it. So I remember like being told that you are going to bore your husband is going to get tired of you always like maybe talking, or like what's it called? What do they call it? You're nagging. Yeah, you know this Bible scripture that says you go and it's better to live on the roof than to live in the house with a nagging wife. And I was like, oh my god. But my husband actually says that he enjoys me talking. Well, other than the times I go to
the times when I just feel
maybe that is his calming feel. See, I told you I'm done. I'm actually done. Come back. But anyway, no, like that was one of the qualities that he did take on and like about me. But that was one of the qualities that he liked about me. Right. So next question is things to look out for before marriage.
Before marriage.
Red flags or green flags. Go stop.
I think just for anybody, it's like their principles, right? So does their principles match yours really? So you don't go in a relationship with somebody that doesn't like what you like or doesn't share the same principles like you. So if a principle could possibly their integrity. Does their integrity match yours? Even if it's not exactly 100% your own, is it close enough? I think when I was looking for when we were searching for each other, right? I asked one girl's going, oh, obviously I know different people from different walks of life, different things. I asked, oh, would you cater for this particular person? She was like, no. I said, why not? I was going, oh, because there's this particular way. It's going.
Please be specific. So I think it was about religion, right?
So yeah, it was okay. So it was more about religion. So I said, oh, would you? So the culture says, oh, they only eat halal, right? So I said, oh, would you accommodate that for that particular person? And she was like,
Muslims,
no. I said, oh, why is that? Because they do this and that. I was going, okay, so it's a bit strange. So I said, well, so you're saying if you go on a missionary trip to that particular country where they only serve halal, and someone came to your house and said, oh, let me meet you, let me serve you food, and they said, oh, here's a food, and ask, is it halal? And said, no. That's kind of downright rude. So it's like going, so I thought, that one, no, that doesn't fly. I think you have to accommodate people to an extent. I'm not saying accommodate everybody. Yeah. So that kind of thing in terms of integrity was like, maybe not. And honestly, if their religion doesn't match yours, if you are religious, then okay, that's fine. You move on from there, kind of thing. I guess another one. You know, some people actually say they want children, but they actually don't want children. They just kind of say, oh, well.
Don't come and enter one chance. So come and enter the marriage. And I say, did I tell you that?
Did I tell? I was like, but you said you like children. But you look through times going, actually, she never liked approaching children, or she doesn't like children approaching her, or him, or whichever. So it's kind of interesting. So sometimes children it's a deal breaker for some, not a deal breaker for others. So obviously you've got to be aware of that. I think it's just asking the hard questions as well.
Yes.
So if you just treading softly, oh, I love you.
You are in for.
You're my apple of my eye. Moon to my sky. Ooh. But yeah, so you're not just dreaming and just falling in love. You're actually wanting to know more. Like, if you have to be dead on, like going, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? Okay, no thank you. Bye. No worries.
It's part of honesty as well.
It's part of honesty. It's like if you don't appreciate that, then okay, it's a hard sell, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you very much. So just look out for red flags. The things that you actually cannot stomach. Don't say it's going to change in marriage. It's not going to change. Marriage actually amplifies those flaws. If the person was covering it all before marriage, in fact, if you have a chance to even go and speak to the person's sibling or their parents, go and ask them how they are, because if the person is forming clean and then the sibling tells that this one is not clean, this one is dirty, just know that that's what you're going to see in the house. There's nothing that's going to change. So, things like that. And
I guess another one also is just being aware of each other's family. I guess another one to be aware of is family situations. do they like your family? Do they not like your family? Is it a case of, every time they meet each other, it's like, there's always some kind of complaints, whatever. But I guess, going back to that first question, misconception was, is understanding each other's families. So, obviously, it's easy to say, we're married.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's not just us two, it's our families that are
Also married,
married to each, like, by relation of, by us, right? So is that way, do they get on? I don't know if you can find out early enough, but it's mainly between one another. Do both of us get along with our spouses, partners, parents, parents and siblings and brothers and aunties and uncles and everybody and grandmas and grandma and great grandmas. It just, the list goes on. But yeah, so just be aware of that.
I think something that's quite interesting is also to educate that person about your family. Don't leave them in the dark, because you know your family more than them. So don't keep them there assuming what your family members like. That your mom is not happy with somebody going to join her in the kitchen to cook. You will now leave the girl to go and say, mommy, let me help you. You know that the woman does not want to share a pot and a spoon and she's looking at you as rude. Or on the other hand, you know that your mom likes people to come and help, and then the girl is started cross leg. You are not helping. You should also always tell. I remember I always tell my spouse, you have to do this, or you have to greet in this certain way, or you have to do this. If you don't do, I will not just leave him there, and then my family will not be thinking, what kind of rude person is this, or do you get and vice versa. So I know there are many times I've been like, if say for instance I wasn't of a similar culture. If I was of like a different culture entirely, I think I would have been lost, and I don't think it would have been fair for my spouse not to have stepped in and helped. So I don't know if it's stereotypical. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but sometimes I think men just free it and just let it slide. Please don't help your spouse. Tell them what your family likes and doesn't like, what to do in the house. Don't let them assume and get into trouble. Because don't be the fueler of bad things. Right. Building a friendship, how to keep the romance alive after kids. I don't know if this person, so romance can mean a lot of things. Is it the sexual part of the marriage, or is it actually the companionship? So romance can be buy flowers, saying that I love you. There are many things. So we can answer both sides, but I think being intentional, being playful, literally just play with your spouse. Like when people are joking, the bad blood and energy just reduces that. By the time you're now due for any, say for instance, to advance to any sexual relationship with your spouse, it wouldn't be that serious. It will not be like, let's go to the bed now. It's like you've been building something all through. So, but what do you think? Like, sorry, you need to read the question again. Wait, have you got it?
Yeah, just maybe ask that again.
Building a friendship, how to keep the romance alive after kids.
After kids, right? So, I guess one thing that we started doing, so we bath each of the kids, and then after a certain time, when we had one child, right? Let's say that. Let's start with that.
Slightly easier.
It was slightly easier. So his bedtime was like 8, but for some reason or another, we're bathing at 8 and then going to bed around 8:30. And then that became like uncomfortable because not uncomfortable. It's just like you're losing time. So I said, you know what? Let's bath at 7. Goes to sleep at half 7, and then that means from 7:30 until whenever we go to bed, we have time to each other. Yeah. So you start making that intentional. Have that intentional mindset that's going, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to achieve it. And so that kind of helped. And I guess, as I already said, it's being intentional about setting time apart from, other than just, let's join it together with the kids. You don't want to join it with the kids a lot of times. You're going to make it separate as much as possible so you can both kind of enjoy each other's company. And just kind of romance that. And I think anything kind of helps, even sending a little text saying, I love you. I was like, I love you. I miss you. So just get that a lot. I miss you. I miss next door.
Or picking up the phone and saying, I love you. Say, yes, how are you? What is happening? Nothing.
I just wanted to say I love you. Okay. But just being intentional. Spend that time apart. Even use that time's great. Okay, everyone's going out of the house. Make it romantic. Use the case of just walking around the whole block by yourself or together with the kids, and you make use of your in-laws, grandparents, aunties, uncles.
Yeah.
Obviously the ones that you trust and everything.
Yeah.
So just make sure you can get them involved. Say, oh, do you want to look after your nephew, your niece, whatever, and then just get them involved because a village helps. Having a village helps.
Yeah,
so
village helps raise a child.
The family villagers are coming. So it's like, yeah, cool.
Or if you don't have family close by, like even church community, you know, people that you actually trust, friends that are willing to help, you know, even if you don't want to take the child out of their space, you can just tell the person to come. I remember I used to go to a friend's house to actually help babysit her children. So they didn't have to come to mine. You know, they could come to mine once or twice, but the child is in their space. They are comfortable with their toys and everything. You then, you know, go out, give them their routine if they have, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, boom. The next question is, what do you like about each other?
It's a tough question, isn't it? I love everything about her. So, does that answer your question? I don't know.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. So, you want me to just small little tip is still love you. It's like, okay. So what more can I do? So.
Yeah, well, I don't know, I think it's vice versa as well. You know, the annoying times. What do I like about Enoch? I like his way of sort of phrasing things in a way that will present to you nice, even if it's not really telling you off, he will tell you in a nice way. We were talking about some people recently, and he tried to make it really nice, and he said, I think this person is just a little bit. I looked at him, I was like, I know what you're trying to say. They are not just a little bit, they are. So I like that. When I married him, I used to say I actually liked his wisdom and everything. But yeah, I mean, which has grown over the years. And so we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. We are here to buff each other, to, you know, complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, and just help out in whatever way possible. Do you have any specific thing about me that you like, or
I guess she's really organized. As much as sometimes I say, you're too organized. You're doing this too much. Oh, you're
overpacking. I knew it. I knew you were going to say that. You pack the whole house.
Going on holiday.
Take like 100 suitcases. Take buckets.
Take everything after her. But in all honesty, it's like her organization to things are really detailed, very thorough. Even when you ask her something, she explained the whole thing from the beginning. It's like, I just need the middle. Can we just go to the middle and then we just finish up? But I think, yeah, so it's really helpful to have someone that is detailed oriented and just understands you particularly well as well. So yeah.
Thank you. And the final question, I think there's going to be a part 2 as well of this, but the final question, we're just going to... Yeah. Final question is, how did you know that I was... So final question is, how did you know that I was the one? And did we face any challenges with the distance or from family? So I feel like there are 3 questions here. How did you know I was the one? Did you face challenges with distance when we were dating? And then did you face any challenges with family?
Okay.
Yeah. You can start whichever order you want.
So I guess we kind of answer the first one in terms of...
How did you know I was the one?
The one. How did I know she was the one?
On that website.
She had a strange name. That was one.
By the way, I catfished him and I tried to see if he actually really liked me or not.
I know, right?
But he cut me out.
Another story.
I didn't mention that in the video. Yeah, you reminded me.
But I guess it as I said before, is understanding each other's principles, where you all come from. Can she relate to you? Can you both relate to each other? Is understanding the deal breakers essentially. Like, I guess if you ever had the chance to go to marriage counseling, like before you get married, it's no good just kind of coming to it and say, right, this is what I don't like, this is what you need to find out well before. So I think I already knew what I liked about her is her mindset, the fact that she loves her family, and she kind of loved mine as well. And I think it's just the love for each other was so in depth. So it's like, yeah, it was deep. Did we face any long distance relationship issues? Yes, I think one was communication. You know, when you're messaging each other's going, and sometimes messages don't make things clearer. It just makes it more confusing. So eventually we kind of opted in for voice notes, but sometimes a long voice note is like, you didn't listen to all of it. Just going, if I listen to the part, it's going, and then we just kind of joined into long, like all the WhatsApp calls, Skype calls. Those ones can also be kind of long in terms of someone might be going to sleep.
Someone might be going to sleep.
And then connection issues. Yeah. It's like, this connection. Oh, this law school.
The stress of the law school.
But honestly, the thing that kind of helped as well, it was kind of visiting her. So it's like, I went to Nigeria until the end for this visa. If you want to know about lifetime issues of visa applications for Nigeria, let me know. Put that in the comments below, yeah? So, but yeah, just kind of making the intention to visit her family as well, and then just kind of get to experience her side of life in a different country. And yeah, just kind of loving that whole experience. I genuinely loved it. So getting to go to different concerts, meeting her friends. Yeah, so it was really good. And then what was the last one?
Anything with family, any issue?
The only issue is you're going there too much.
Going to my place too much. Wedding planning as well. There were two different traditions.
So yeah, you
invitation.
Have to
Somebody has a lot to say. Invitations. The girl's name is first. The boy's name is first. How many guests? There's just a few things. But yeah, I think the main one was, like you said, you're going there too much. Like we're seeing each other too much, and we're thinking, but this person is going to live for almost 2 years. How can I know? Can I actually see them enough? Do you get? But anyway, we made it work in the end.
Yeah, we made it work. Yeah, there's nothing that was, everything was kind of hard. It was like, we'll have a certain time, and then she left, and then it's are you sure? To be fair, I'm sure she mentioned the chance group, she said she's gonna leave.
Yeah.
Okay, you can leave. I'm still coming. So yeah.
Thank you.
So just making that intention as well. Even if you're in it for the long run, yeah, make it clear. Make it stand out for us, saying that I do like you for that long term and everything. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. It's been an amazing part 1. If you did have any more questions that you felt like we did not address, please let us know, and you can contact me on Instagram, inspired_by_Sase, or leave a comment in the below section, and we would deal with your questions. See you later.
See you in 2 years.
Bye. 2 years.